Almost everyone who lives in the universe of Skyward Sword agrees that the world they live in is absolutely beautiful. Most people of Skyloft and the surrounding islands are happy. They are truly living in a state of bliss. However, below them, a dark storm is brewing. A world that was left behind to rot and disappear from people's memories. If you ask around in Skyloft about the surface world below, most people have no idea at all what's going on down there. Most think it's some sort of barren wasteland where you will find nothing, not even a form of life. However, today we will actually talk about what happened down there hundreds of years ago. The day that the world almost ended. A long time ago, there was a conflict known as the Ancient Battle, which is one of the earliest battles in Hyrule's history. Now, centuries ago, the world was created by the three golden goddesses, Din, Nehru, and Faeror. And as they departed from their new creation, they left behind a symbol of their own power in the form of the triforce. And this changed everything. A brand new world was born, and the one thing that could completely destroy it was there for the taking. In the end, they left a relic under the protection of the goddess Hylia, ordering her to safeguard it. But then, many years later, it all went wrong when dark forces were drawn to this immense amount of power. Instead of corrupt men, actual evil creatures came for the Triforce, together with their leader, the Demon King Demise. The era of peace ended when a fissure opened in the earth, and from it, an army of demons led by Demise came forth. He sought to obtain the Triforce from Hylia and use it to conquer the entire world, and so he ordered his armies to destroy everything in their path. In the end, this forced Hylia into this conflict. And out of fear, she took all the Hylians and Triforce on an outcropping of rock she cut away from the land around her temple. And then, using her power, she raised the island into the sky, sending it beyond the clouds to keep her people out of Demise's reach. This floating island, along with others, became the new home of the Hylians, which came to be known as Skyloft. And she also created a cloud barrier to separate the realm of the sky from the surface, making sure that no one could reach them. Now, once her people and the Triforce were safely beyond Demise's reach, the goddess Hylia and her chosen hero joined forces with the remaining races dwelling on the surface, and entered into a fierce battle with Demise and his army of demons. And after a long and bloody battle, they succeeded in subduing Demise, driving him into a prison in the former location of the statue of the goddess, which is now on Skyloft. Hylia cast him into this prison and placed a great seal on it, meant to keep him locked away. And here, he could do no further harm to anyone. In the end, she was injured, and so she decided to give up her immortal form so that her soul could be reborn as a mortal in the distant future, allowing her to utilize the powers of the Triforce, which cannot be wielded by gods. And so, the battle for control of the surface was seemingly won, and what remained of his armies were left scattered and dispersed across the land. And when the dust had finally settled, forests were burned to ash, the land's sweet springs disappeared, and many, many people were murdered without hesitation. The world was in ruins, and only on the islands in the sky, life was flourishing. But we all know that. However, something that we haven't heard about before is, what happened to the world after this war? Well, obviously, we will never truly know what happened. But there are still some ruins found in the world that tell their own story. And one good place to start is Lanayru Desert. There used to be a great sea here. However, due to rapid climate change, the water completely evaporated. And so, the sea turned into this. there is no water left at all, and all the life that once lived in and around it is gone now as well. One good example is the Hylians and other races that used to be found in the Lanayru shipyard. This place used to be a sea town inhabited by the workers who built the ships inside of the construction bay. It used to be a fun and interesting town that was vibrant. As you can see, there's old technology everywhere and the place is massive. But now, it's a shadow of its former self. It could be that this really just happened over time, and it was truly inevitable. But I think there's something else going on. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, when Demise and his armies came, they also destroyed springs. So maybe they also did something here. For example, cast some sort of curse. And so in time, the sea completely disappeared. This would certainly hurt the inhabitants of this area in many ways, which we can see in Skyward Sword because it's a complete ghost town. And almost everyone there is dead now. The only creatures we come across now are Lizalfos and some other enemies. So clearly, evil has won here. And all the other areas found in this province are also deserted and in complete ruins. However, were there also places that bounced back? And did the races involved in this war survive Demise's attack? Well, yes and no. And a great example of one of these answers is Faron Woods and all the creatures that live there. There's lots of water in this region, which allows it to sustain a large range of plants, including this massive tree. And so it's only logical that the lush plant life in the water have attracted a lot of different animals in the region. If you go there, you can clearly see that a lot of life that might have been hit hard by Demise and his army moved to this location. A good example is the Kikwi. These are small, furry creatures that are a mix between animal and plant. They are herbivores and are overall quite peaceful. They rarely resort to violence. Instead, they do the complete opposite by hiding themselves at any sign of danger. Many of them are in fact quite cowardly, even believing Link and Vi are monsters when they first meet them. Now, you wouldn't think they got involved during the war, but they did, even though they don't defend themselves in any way in the game. Now, aside from these creatures, we also come across the Parella, which appear to be a mix of a seahorse and a jellyfish. Now, they also fought in the war against Demise, but just like the Kikwi, they survived and now thrive in Faron Woods. Even though in this area, Demise is sealed away, which obviously draws in evil creatures like bokoblins. But so far, they are lucky. And this also goes for a race known as the Mogma, who are found at Elden Volcano. Here they live primarily subterranean lives, digging for rupees and other treasures. And they are so greedy that they are even willing to put their own lives in danger for it. And just like the others I mentioned, they are also struggling with intruders, which is certainly making their life harder and more dangerous. However, they are the ones who got away, which didn't happen for everyone. Some even died out completely. This is one of the ancient robots that you can find in Lanayru Desert, and back in the day, these were actual functioning robots. But in time, they all died out, and this also goes for their leader. And the only way you can get them back is by using time travel. And they aren't the only ones, because another race known as the Gorons also suffered a lot. They are a race of rock people inhabiting Hyrule and also other lands like Termina. Typically, they live in mountain ranges and have lived in Hyrule since ancient times, back in the day when the goddess Hylia ruled, and so they have long held close ties to the Hyrulean royal family. And we've even seen that they have the capability to thrive in any environment and even in times of crisis. However, in Skyward Sword, we barely see any of them. So, while they did survive in the end, they had to sacrifice a lot. In general, this is the theme of the story: sacrifice. Everyone in the world of Hyrule had to fight for their life in order to save the Hylians and the Triforce, because those two things were the key to saving the whole world from absolute disaster. Now let's hope something like this will never, ever happen again. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to click the subscribe button and the bell button so you stay notified. Click a like and tell me in the comments what you think about this video. I'm going for more high quality stuff, so give me some feedback, and if you like it, be sure to support me by sharing around the video and all that.